Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back. We are moments away from the release of probably the most hyped thing of the year for me, which is, of course, the Witcher Netflix series. Since there was a lot of hope going into this and a lot of good vibe coming out about some of the early preview. And today, I'm going to be talking about one of the stories from the Witcher books. I hope make it into the TV series, and hopefully you would be wanting to see in the TV series as well. But before we get to that, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that sub, follow, hit buttons, you know the stuff. And of course, come check me out over on twitch.tv/PonyShow, where I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, let's get into this. What should we have in the Witcher TV series? And to start this off, we're going to start with a story that should be fairly familiar to some of you who have actually played the Witcher video games, and also a story that is kind of entwined into the vibe of Witcher as a whole. And the story comes from the book The Last Wish, which is a collection of a whole bunch of pretty much short stories of random missions that Geralt of Rivia wanders into or take part in, right along with an introduction of a whole bunch of characters that will be important later on in the book series. But what we are talking about is one of the very short stories in this book, which is just titled The Witcher, which, well, most of you probably be familiar with this. This happened to be the story that was the intro to Witcher 1 over on PC, as we got to see a CG collection of, I guess you could say, the end of the storyline. The story picks up with Geralt entering a small-ish little town of Vizima as he stopped to get a drink. Well, he very quickly, I get picked on by some very racist people in the little pub area who picks a fight with him, which, as you probably all know, did not go too well for the individuals, which in return get the attention of the local Vizima cops, or guards, I guess. And as they are preparing to arrest him, he pretty much tells them, hey, take me to the king. I have something to say to the king. You can arrest me, do whatever you're going to do, just take me to the king beforehand. Which they do take him to. Well, we get a discussion happening. Well, the king is very quickly ready to heal him out, since, as he puts it, he is a very kind king, and before he kill anyone, he will let them have them last witch heal in some ways. Once again, tying back into the title, right along with a couple other stories in that book. But Geralt make it pretty clear that he is indeed a witcher, and he saw a bulletin board for a hunt of a young maiden who happened to be the daughter of the king that got turned into a trigger, which in return, Geralt pretty much offered to take care of the problem, and hopefully the king will let him go. Which, in return, finds out that it's not a simple mission for se, since it seemed that the young girl who got turned into that creature happened to be the daughter of the king himself. But the backstory here with this is not as simple as you might think. Supposedly, this happened because the king ended up having a love getaway with his own sister, and the king believes that the either a mix of maybe justification for him sleeping with his sister. On the other hand, he do believe, since this is probably a curse and someone probably put it onto his daughter for revenge purposes, and to pretty much strike out against him and his love affair he was having with his sister, which he was in the process of marrying. And Geralt pretty much explained to him that it a possibility of a good chance that he could break the course and return her back to normal, with some side effects involved, mainly with or being, I get the way to put it, is a pretty much a mental level of a 3-year-old, right along with the ability of needing to have personal care, mainly taking care of her and using orbs and items to make sure she doesn't turn back into that creature once it's all said and done. Yeah, so the king pretty much say, okay, I will let you free. I will pay you the bounty, which turned out to be roughly about $3,000, which will come important later, as a reward if he is able to do this. But as he keep explaining that obviously other people have come along, some rituals have come along in the past, some of them have just passed on it because they wasn't interested in actually trying to save the monster girl. They wanted to kill it and move on. Other people have taken up the offer and, well, have ended up dead. But the main reason for the hit have been put out on that creature is mainly because the creature have been very slowly eating more and more of the locals. And on every night when the moon is full, more and more people ends up getting killed. And as we find out, the town have slowly been moving farther and farther inland to escape that creature. So between the creature getting out of hand and between the whole that being the king daughter, a very, very high costs have been put onto that quest and very much put into Geralt being do not kill that thing no matter what. If it come down to it and he have to, he can, but ideally don't. So Geralt, of course, take the mission at hand, and as he is preparing over a 3-night period, waiting for the full moon to come so that creature will come back out of a quip, that he end up being confronted by a person that tells him, like, hey, the king is probably just gonna kill you when it's all said and done. He's gonna have you do the mission, and then, kill you and not pay you. Which Geralt will very quickly say that will be something he will cross when the time comes, and if the time does happen, he is not afraid to fight back any against royalty and pretty much a kingdom as a whole. Which in return, Geralt will stick to his words and still goes on with the mission no matter what. So we fast forward into the night of the hunt, and very quickly, as Geralt is preparing between potions, items, and whatnot, getting himself mentally and physically prepared for the fight with that creature, a lord from a Neverglade ends up showing up to talk to Geralt as he is preparing, which is honestly a bad idea since the monster is supposed to be out pretty much at any moment at that point, if not maybe an hour or two. That person from Novigrad pretty much explained to Geralt that he should not fight the monster. He should take some money that person have and get on a horse and leave. It's an easy $1,000, take it and go. And the reason for this is mainly because that person was pretty much have two major issues with it and two major reasons he would like for Geralt to just leave. The fourth one being, of course, that person was in love with the king's sister. The same sister that the king was sleeping with and in the process of marrying. So we have some jealousy happening here, but the majority of the main reason here is, of course, to pretty much prove that the king of this area is not mentally capable to run the country, to run that part of the Vizima, and hopefully pretty much drive him insane and give him as much pain as known the man without killing him, to try revenge against him for sleeping with his sister and stealing the love away from the Lord of Neverglade, as well as hopefully in return, if it can be proven that he is not fit for the throne, that Neverglade will come in and take ownership of the area as a whole. But when Geralt confronts him to ask him, like, hey, was you the one that put the spell on that kid? He pretty much answers no. He ends up, as he puts it, trying to court the family a little bit, but he have never dealt with magic or anything of the sort, so it was nothing more than empty threats and empty wishes. In return, Geralt pretty much believed, and at that point we never really find out what was the exact reason for the transformation. Was it because the king was having an incest relationship with his sister, or was it something else in the town, since the whole town was pretty much against the idea for obvious reasons. But Geralt pretty much decided he's not going to take the money and stick to his word to work for the king, because if Geralt have a 50-50 shot of being killed on the spot after this, Geralt still gives his word to the king that he will do the mission. So in return, he knocks this fella out and pretty much ties him up and decided, hey, let's just use you as bait. Cause yeah, if we can get you to distract the monster, it will make my hunt a whole lot easier. Which he does. And as we get forward a little bit in time, right before the release of Midnight and the release of the creature into the wild, the Neverglad guard ends up waking up in a panic, realizing what Geralt is actually doing after Geralt knocked him out, and pretty much Geralt set him free, which is mainly, as we put it, used for bait to draw the monsters out. So once the monster have heard this guy running about and screaming, he comes out of a little hidey hole where he'd been sleeping all these days to pretty much murder this guy on the spot and get free food. Which at that moment is when Geralt pretty much go on to the attack, as Geralt randomly hits it with a weapon, a chain, using other signs and whatnot, trying to figure out exactly what's going on with that monster. As he put two and two together, he realized that that monster is actually what keeping it as a creature, and what could probably break the curse is of course sunlight. Since sunlight itself seemed to be very kind of dangerous to it, but mainly because the creature always returned back to its grave where it sleep to the next moon to come out and hunt. So Geralt had the bright idea after fighting off that creature a little bit, like maybe if he could get back to where the creature had been sleeping and making it where the creature is stuck outside or have no other option, nowhere else to sleep, maybe that will end up breaking the curse that had owned it girl. Which in return, as he fights off the monster and kill it off, he finds out where it been sleeping, which happened to be in a grave site where, of course, the king sister is laying after the death of childbirth, since she didn't make it, since she was pretty much having a, I guess, monster baby. She ended up dying in childbirth where she was laid to rest. Of course, this creature had been sleeping in the grave next to her. And Geralt realized this, and then we turn pretty much crawl into the grave site that the creature been sleeping in, and cast a spell on it to make it where the creature won't be able to open a grave and won't be able to sleep next to a mother anymore. And after some time pass and Geralt drifts off into a little bit of sleep, into his meditation, to wait to morning, since morning at that point is only an hour or so away, he very slowly come out of the grave trying to figure out if the creature anywhere near him, if the creature back being a human, is it not? And when he comes out of the grave, he ends up seeing a 14-year-old girl laying on the ground, completely naked, with her held down to her waist. And as Geralt being very careful here to make sure that everything is fine, the spell had been broken, he start checking her lips or hands, start trying to figure out is there any other mutation that still might be happening, or some like defacing happening to her body, coming back to becoming a human after all these years. As he is looking her over, making sure everything is correct, she suddenly wakes up, gouge at his throat, whipping his throat wide open. In return, as he is bleeding out, trying his best to stop from passing out, he pins her down with some nails, and in return, trying to hold her in an area long enough to get her under control, and long enough for him to hopefully get away from her and whip off bandages and items off his clothing to try to make a makeshift band-aid put around his neck to hopefully stop the blood from him bleeding completely out. He does get her pinned, he does get her under control, but very much pass out a few moments later. Well, we jump forward a few days where he wakes up with some Vizima guards and doctor standing over him, letting him know he is perfectly fine. He almost died from the blood loss, but got lucky enough to actually stop it. And the girl herself seemed to be back to normal, but he was correct about her having the mental capability of roughly a 3-year-old. So with that, the person leave the $3,000 on his desk, and Geralt pass out once again. And that brings us to the end of the story. As you can see, the story is pretty much very straightforward and could very much be a single episode. Because we have government politics stuff, we have our like small action scene with our giant model scene. We have a very in-depth story that is just like kind of fascinating because there's a lot of mystery to it and a lot of stuff that never really explained, but kind of left up to the imagination. And also do a good job getting a Clark Gable story of being not exactly skilled a much, and at the same time still a little more, again, not as cold as some other Witcher, since he is willing to keep his word and, you know, not betray his orders, and, you know, in some cases, you know, kind of killing in some way. And also, there's a good setup for the whole issue with Vizima and Novigrad and the whole, you know, trying to take over. Pretty much, I feel like the story itself is a very contained story that have a lot to it, which would be, like I said, fantastic for, like, a episode in the TV series. So, hopefully we will get this. Hopefully, it will work out, because, honestly, this is great. And if you are interested in reading or listening to the story yourself, like I said, the story is the very fourth chapter of The Lat Witch. So if you are interested in checking that out, you can. And, of course, there is an audiobook available of it as well. Or, once again, also, if you want to see the fight scene as a whole, of course, the fight scene was pretty much the intro to the original Witcher video game over on PC. So sadly you don't get to play the story, but hey, you get to see a fairly okay CG video from 90 or 2008 of this if you want to see it. And hopefully they give you some more backstory into what exactly was happening in that intro, since, you know, we see Geralt holding someone hostage, but don't exactly understand who he is, but now you do. So, with that, my dudes, I'm going to go ahead, head on out of here. If you are new to the channel, once again, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the like, do comment, love, hate, you know, it all the same. It will be highly appreciated. And once again, don't forget, I do stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday over at twitch.tv/PonyShow. So with that, enjoy the Witcher Netflix series, everybody. Well, we're shouting, need to stop it. Oh, choice has been made. We didn't die, chat. we literally fell into the dungeon.